Hello and welcome to Nick V Uncensored. Today we've got Lewis Herms, and today we're going to talk about the madness in California. But just before we begin, for YouTube's guidelines, I want to say don't believe anything Lewis says. Not really, but the disclaimer is this is for entertainment and educational purposes only. We urge you to do your own research. We're not giving any advice, financial or health advice, and we just speculating and having an open opinion discussion about what's going on and what we believe is the right path to freedom and sovereignty. Lewis, thank you so much for joining me. How are you, and what have you been up to?
I've been up to wearing my typical tinfoil hat. So, as a conspiracy theorist, now a conspiracy factualist, and of course, preparing for a huge debate, a gubernatorial debate in California, and our big rally on Saturday. So we've been really, really busy, but I'm meeting some phenomenal people, and our campaign's getting a lot of traction. But don't believe anything I say. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Exactly. This is the way it goes now, ladies and gentlemen. We have to read in between the lines and make your own decision. But Lewis, you say that you've got a debate coming up, right? Do you know who you're debating against?
Yeah, all the Republican candidates. The only one that's not showing up is Chad Bianco for some reason, but Steve Hilton will be there and everybody else.
Interesting. And do you know what they're going to be asking? Is it spontaneous? Is it
Have no
random?
idea. As it should be. The moderators, I'm sure they already have their questions down or are working on them. But I don't want to know, and I think I thrive best spontaneously because our message is authentic and truthful, and I internalize what we're doing and what we need to do for we the people. So these are very easy platforms for myself, just because we speak truth. I'm not going to say the same for all the rest of the candidates. I think they're going to be highly prepared, but we'll see.
Absolutely, of course. Now, what's the madness going on in California? You say that there's a bill that came out recently. I don't know anything about this bill, so why don't you just tell the viewers and myself?
So there's a lot. There's one that's being voted on as we speak. It's Proposition 50. Now, here's the crazy thing about Proposition 50. What Gavin Newsom is trying to do is completely gerrymander, redistrict all of California to maximize Democratic strongholds. And if you were to see the map, I mean, the map looks like a snake. It wiggles all over the place just so they can capture and push out as many Republicans. So what they try to do is they're really gerrymandering the conservatives, trying to put them all in one sector so they get one seat instead of getting four, which they should. It's just disgusting. But that's not even the worst part. This is Proposition 50. The worst part is in the history of propositions. I've never, ever seen language, or there's never been language where it says, we wrote this because of what Texas is doing in their state. So literally, they're saying to you that we are playing a game of tit for tat with another state, which is just disgusting and gross. Oh, but it goes worse. Their ads are simply this. They get all the famous people to come out, including Obama, and they say, a vote for yes on 50 is a vote for no on Trump. That's it. They don't explain it. They're trying to attach themselves to Trump derangement syndrome. I've never seen anything like this in my life. This is the height of disgust in politics. There's just zero about we the people here, and it's just literally a fight against President Trump, and it's gross.
You know that thing you just said, vote yes on Tuesday, I think you said, and if you vote yes, it means it's a no for Trump.
Right.
That's fraud, because
Exactly.
it's not really a vote for no towards Trump. Okay, it's not a straightforward vote no for Trump. Yeah, okay, it's manipulation voting. This is fraud.
The whole thing is manipulation. They're manipulating the vote, they're manipulating the language, and they're manipulating to get people to vote. And they're spending, I don't know how many hundreds of millions, or I don't know what type of money they're spending, but advertisements are constantly all over the place. Vote yes on 50, and then they are changing the language too. They have other ads that say vote yes on 50 to like reset the democratic or democracy as it should be. I'm like, what the heck? It's because it's doing exactly the opposite. But as we have known with the Democrats, and I'm talking about the politicians, everything they say is just a lie. So people are literally voting for liars constantly. That's all they're voting for right now. And I sure hope and have hope that the California people and the American people start seeing through the lies on both sides, because it's just absolute manipulation.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the New York Muslim radical, regarding the election there, because I'm very worried about New York because it could turn out like London. We've got Sadiq Khan, who's the mayor of London, and he's just allowing all these immigrants, and I'm not against immigrants. I'm against people coming over that want to benefit from taxpayers' money. They don't want to work. They're criminals, and they have a third world mentality who cannot integrate into the Western society. And above all, they are pushing the Islamic agenda on people. They think that this is a Muslim country. They're taking over. Okay. And I call it an invasion. And so this is what could happen in New York. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so they have three major candidates: Mamdani, Cuomo, and Curtis Lewa, which is formerly with the I can't believe I forgot his name, the Angels, where he used to help protect New York, which is just amazing. But here's what's interesting and what's so scary about the Islamic agenda. If you listen to their doctrine and the way they talk within the mosques, the Islamic agenda is to either you have to bow down and become Islamic or Muslim, or you will be killed. That this is not just rhetoric. This is pervasive throughout the mosques. And then they have this Mandami who's embracing the Islamic ideology at the highest level and promising everybody they get free stuff, where the agenda really is to get inside and absolutely, like Obama tried to do, is destroy New York from the inside out. That's the goal. So then they have complete control. And when you socialize everything, it has nothing to do with the people. It has everything to do with control, because socialism ends up to communism. Communism ends up to dictatorship, because what happens is socialism always ends up breaking down, and then they need a communist control. They say that's the goal in order to protect you from what they already created. And then they need a dictator because you start fighting back against communism. Throughout history, it's always the same. This is very, very scary for New York. So this is a huge, huge election and should be decided today. My concern is President Trump seems like out of desperation has now put his force behind the Democrat, Andrew Cuomo. Think about this. Because he says he would rather have a Democrat than communists. That's scary to me, because Curtis Lewa is the best candidate by far, and he's conservative. By far, he is. With Trump doing this, is he's set precedents for everybody, right? That it's better to vote for the lesser of two evils. When I think he should set precedents and say, no, everybody needs to get behind Sliwa, because we have to start to do it the right way. But this is why the two-party system is a failure. John Adams, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson all said you need to be afraid of the two-party system, because this will be the end of we the people's control. They all warned us about this.
Do you think that? Sorry to interrupt you. Did I interrupt you? Do you want to carry on?
No, you're fine.
Do you think by Trump saying, well, I actually prefer Cuomo, after his, discredited him for so many years, Do you think by Trump saying, "Oh, I'd rather Cuomo, a Democrat," do you think that's his way of expressing to say to the people, well, that's how bad the Islamic radical mayor is going to be?
I do. I do. I think he's saying that's how bad at least communism is going to be because that's what he's referring to Mondami about. The challenge is if we perpetually keep going down the road of voting for the lesser of evil, you still have evil. When are we going to say, no, we're not going to have it anymore? We are not going to support the lesser of two evils because it's still a control mechanism. And I liken it to this. The primaries in our elections are the most important. What happens is the deep state radicals, what they do is they ignore their Democrat because they already know their Democrat's going to get through the primary and they know the Democrat has completely sold out to their agenda. So they put all their focus on who? A rhino Republican. So then they get their rhino Republican through the primaries. And then in the general election, they can take the day off because they already know either they get evil or the lesser two evils in there. The deep state wins. So I appreciate everything President Trump done for it, but on this point, I would disagree with him. I think it's time for us to step up and just support the right person and keep going down and supporting the right person. You're gonna have some losses. You're gonna lose some battles to win the war, but if we're really gonna win the war, we have to do the right thing. We have to do the right thing now.
So for me, I think that the whole point of putting an Islamic, Islamic mayor into New York is they want to erase Christianity because I believe Christianity is the closest to what Jesus embodied, to what he was teaching. Although there's a lot of, we've spoken about this before, there's a lot of twisted or distortions in Christianity. But
from the people, from the people
from the
pulpit.
From the Roman Empire, the Vatican,
Yeah,
how they twisted the lies, because the Gnostics were
exactly.
they got it the closest. The Gnostics, they destroyed all the evidence regarding Jesus teaching reincarnation, and he didn't want us to worship him. He wanted to be a mirror to say, hey, you've got Christ consciousness light within you. Wake up. Ignore the religion. Ignore the control. Wake up from all this.
Well, we have to remember that Christ said that we will do greater things than he, right? And our connection is directly to God Almighty. It's been the churches that try to step between that. For example, the Roman Catholic Church specifically created the Jesuits to kill Protestants because Protestants simply said, stop putting the Pope and the church before God. Okay, so the answer was the Roman Catholic Church, go kill them.
Yeah, terrible. Yeah. The answer to me is that we are God. We have the Christ light within us. We don't have to become, we have to remember because we have always been. Okay? And we just have to remember and embody the Christ light. Embody source awareness. And this is what Jesus was teaching everybody. This is not teaching, but Jesus was, that was his message. I don't believe he said, come and worship me. I don't believe that. I think he would say you've got the message wrong. If you were to come back, he would say you've misunderstood me. I did not come here to worship me. I came here to act as a mirror to show you that you have your own Christ light. And we don't like what you said about the Pope and going to a father in church and confessing to him. You don't need intermediaries. You don't need a middleman. You declare what you want to say with authority because you are the Christ light. You just have to remember. And I want to go back to the Islamic mayor. They want to get rid of that by installing another religion, distorting what is in the Western civilization, making it more dangerous, bringing third world mentalities that cannot integrate in the Western civilization. And then they're going to bring digital ID to say, well, if you want security and you want safety for you and your families, well, you need digital ID. This is what all of this immigration is all about, is erasing history and your compliance to digital ID. That's what I believe.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, and the immigration has a lot to do with child trafficking too. But as we know, the deep state swamp uses these things for multiple avenues. My concern with the influx of Islamic rituals and rhetoric into a free society like America, well, semi-free, but you know what I mean, and into the UK, are their agenda is different than anybody else that comes. Even illegal immigrants that come from South and Central America in general are not looking to take over your land and take over your country. That's not their goal, right? Their goal is whatever, to make a better life for themselves, even if they do it illegally, or to make money, even if they're bringing it back to their hometown. Generally, their goal isn't to conquer. But unfortunately, what's promoted in most mosques is the goal is to conquer, to take us over. In fact, what the sad part is the white liberal guilt construct that we have allows Muslims to march down the street and prayer without permits. And then if you were to do the same, you would be arrested for stopping traffic or doing anything like that. But now, especially in the UK, now if you're to mention that you're against that, they're going to arrest you for saying that you disagree with what should be illegal. It's upside down world.
It is. Censorship is basically censorship exists and it happens because they don't want people like you and I to talk about it freely. They're afraid that we are going to wake up other people. So they censor us so that nobody talks because people are waking up. Now, the other thing I think about, why they're pushing Islam is because they are, when I say they, I mean the state of Israel. I don't want to say Jews because there's very good Jews.
Yeah, there's fake Jews and there's real Jews.
Yeah, the fake Jews, the Satanist fake Jews. Okay, the state of Israel. They are using Islam to divide and conquer in the West, to distract us from what they're doing. Whilst we're saying the chosen land, the chosen people, the land was promised to them. Okay, so that's what I think it is, and I think it's a distraction, and I don't even think all Muslims are bad. I don't believe all Muslims are. I don't believe you can you can just throw a person into a category and say this group of people are all bad. We can't say that. There are good and bad, and I'm not going to even play into the divide and conquer mechanism. I love everyone.
It's the leaders. It's always the leaders.
It's exactly. We have to rise above it with truth, compassion, and we have to be aware of those leaders you're talking about, Lewis. And that's why we support you. That's why you are the only hope for California to get in and make a difference. Because you don't play by identity politics. You're there because you are pro freedom and sovereignty for the people so that people can raise their families in peace and prosper.
Yeah, all colors, races, creeds, and religions. It doesn't matter. The challenge with all of it. So I don't have a problem with Democrats. I have a problem with Democrat leaders. I don't have a Republican problem with Republicans. I have a problem with most Republican leaders. I don't have a problem with religious people at all. I have a problem with their leaders. The indoctrination is ridiculous because they all have, most of them, I should say, have an agenda that is completely different than we the people. We the people is the only thing that we should care about. We the people are who is supposed to be running this country. In January 20th, 2017, President Trump did say, I gave it back to the leaders. He said, I gave it back to the people. And we just need to take it.
The only problem that I have is not identities or color, religion. The problem that I have is darkness, is criminals, rapists, murderers, human traffickers. Those are people operating in the darkness, doing evil things. They need to be removed from society.
I agree. I think the only division should be dark versus light.
Absolutely.
That's it. All the other stuff is messy on purpose. So, a great example, I was saying that you have three major founding fathers that were saying the death of America is virtually a two-party system. Yet, what do? Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican. Because they get you in the psyop. Democrats and Republicans, the people, they agree. I've done the research on 85% of the issues. 85%. So if you agree on 85%, but what do we always focus on? The 15%, because it's all about dividing. Because if they divide, they conquer. We need to wake up. We need to wake up and say, I'm going to evaluate each candidate myself. I'm going to evaluate each bill myself, each proposition. So I'm sorry, guys. You can spend 2 hours on Instagram a day, but you can't spend 2 hours every 2 years on who's actually running for a seat in government or the bills and the propositions. I say we the people can do a better job.
Absolutely. It's part of freedom, sovereignty, taking that responsibility. And we're very conditioned and programmed to function, in the matrix, in the way we've been told. And the other one, the other thing that I want to say is that we keep putting money in our 401ks. We keep putting money in our IRAs. What are we doing? Even in the UK, we have something called Nest, which is a pension scheme. You're putting money in your pension. Do you know that in 15 years from now, it's going to be it's going to be worthless because they keep printing money. So what are we going to do about it? I would say stop paying into your pension and use that same money and buy gold every month, even if it's a grain, because that's how you're going to hedge against inflation, and that's how you're going to become more wealthy, and that's how you're going to invest in your future. I'm not a financial advisor, but a 5-year-old can even knows that. Well, I don't know about a 5-year-old, but anyone knows that gold is the way. Okay, gold is the only way we can hedge against inflation.
So gold and silver is an excellent hedge against inflation. And if you look at the markets traditionally, those that want to spend all their time in the 401ks and the IRAs and so on and so forth, how's that really done for you? Because I've seen many times throughout history where they'll drop 30 to 40% in a week based on some major financial collapse. And then you're happy just to rebuild to where you are. And then the reality is those funds are devalued, like you said, but people don't understand it, right? They think they're growing every year, but they don't take into the way the dollar has devalued. So if you add the dollar devaluing into the growth, you virtually have no growth, right? But people don't think that far, and I get it. But you know what your safety, a great safety net is something I believe tangible. Hold silver tangibly, hold gold silver tangibly, hold platinum tangibly. And I think it's the only way to go to hedge against this. And not to mention there's a lot more upside to that than there is this other stuff, in my opinion. And I don't give financial advice.
Of course, I had a friend the other day called Zach, and I says to him, "You should." I was telling him about Bitcoin. Of course, I prefer gold because it's tangible. No one can take it from you, even if there's no internet. But Bitcoin's a very good example because gold has the same philosophy. You've got, or we'll use gold. Okay, you got 1 ounce of gold, but they don't want to invest in it. This Zach guy, my friend, that didn't want to invest in Bitcoin. He just goes up and down, up and down. It's volatile, he says to me. And I said, and he goes, if I have 5,000 saved in my bank account, I know that's 5,000. I go, yeah, but it's not 5,000. You're just looking at how many coins you have, similar to how many coins in gold you've got, or similar how many coins of Bitcoin you've got. You're not really seeing the value. Okay, you're just seeing the number of coins. And then I gave him a different perspective, and he realized that it doesn't matter the number that you have in your bank. The number will always stay the same, but the value drops substantially. Exactly. This is why we were able to buy a property, 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago for £500. And now you can't, or $500. Now you can't. Now you need hundreds and hundreds of thousands, depending on where you are. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Because of inflation. But if you took that $500 back then and you put that in gold, and you were to bury it in your garden, it will be worth a lot of money today. You could probably buy a few homes with that amount of with that amount of gold. And this is what people don't realize. They look at the number, not the actual value. You know, but we've got someone actually that I'm going to leave the link to. Me and Lewis both know him quite well. His name is Matt. A lot of people are very happy with his services, and we've had a lot of interest. And what Matt does is he takes you out of the system. He teaches how you are financially free and sovereign. You cut ties with the government, and you have complete ownership with your retirement, your future, and gold in your hands. There's so many options of doing this that he can go through with you, but essentially he takes your wealth that you've got in your 401ks or your IRAs, or even if you want to invest in gold, and you now hedge against inflation by owning gold. And that is the key to financial freedom. This isn't about becoming wealthy or rich. This is about financial freedom and sovereignty. And so that you can be free from the system or from the government. That's what it's about. It's about spiritual consent to freedom and sovereignty. Lewis, do you have anything that you want to say about that?
Just that I 100% agree. I think that was absolutely perfectly said.
Well, great. Lewis, thank you so much for joining us today. And again, this is not financial advice. Please do your own research. Everything is opinion based. This is my opinion. But Lewis, thank you very much for sharing as well everything with us today. And we'll speak again very soon. And the link will be below to Matt. So click on the link below and get in touch with him. And he's a lovely, lovely guy. Thank you, Lewis.
Join us for our rally on Saturday.
Absolutely. And I'll be streaming. I'll be waiting for Lewis to arrange that.
You'll be streaming the debate. The rally people, it's free. People can go to the rally for free. And I think you probably have the link below on that too.
Great. Thank you, Lewis. Take care. Bye-bye.